Thanks to the internet, kids today are exposed to sex from a very young age. For girls especially, these messages, combined with the refusal to talk openly about sex, create a dangerous combination.
I think it's way easier for men or boys to talk about it with each other.
I think that obviously when boys talk about it, their friends are like, yeah, go man, that's awesome. And
with women, it feels like there's a certain layer of judgment.
There's a whole nother layer of like centuries of stigma that are just on you.
When girls talk about it, usually they get like whispers behind the back from even like their closest friends, just sort of like slut shaming.
So it's easier to just not talk about it.
I have a friend who she like hooks up with a lot of people, and she's so open to talking about it.
My close friends has sex with more people than our other friends do.
And people are really like judgy, like she's just like known as a slut.
And I think a lot of people just like talk badly about her.
Even though like everyone does the same thing as her, but she's the only one who like talks about it.
It was hard to walk on the fine line of being experienced and being a slut.
I feel like I've always been a very empowered person, but I was never sexually empowered because I was never given the space.
So like one night, a few of my friends went to a party, and this one girl who's like very quiet and like doesn't really hook up with that many people blew this other guy, and then like the next morning everybody else was just like really mad at her about it. But yeah, they basically just like shit talked this girl for like the next week.
Summer after sophomore year, when I had already lost it, or my virginity, I was on a swim team with other kids who were my age. There was one boy that said, "Oh, I would never get with a girl who's not a virgin." It kind of made me feel like abnormal about being that age and not being a virgin anymore.
My boyfriend made it clear that there were very specific rules to me being hot. The most important thing he taught me is that I need to be on display all the time, to prove to everyone he was having sex with me. He would not lock doors so people could barge in and see us having sex. It happened at least 10 different times. I got so brainwashed and thought that being nothing except a sexual object was what was attractive to boys.
I didn't even realize that sex could be just a pleasurable thing without the purpose of having children.
I was about 20 and I was talking about maybe masturbation, and literally one of my friends said, like, "Are you a sex addict?"
I had to find friends that were really just okay with me being like, okay, so masturbation, like, what do you use? Like, what's your favorite lube? And just being able to talk about it has made me so much more comfortable.
The way sex is shown in the media also perpetrates the idea that men's pleasure is more important than women's.
People think that females orgasm less, or it's harder for a female to orgasm than men.
Like, I've known countless people that have told me they didn't know the female orgasm existed.
It definitely feels like the male's pleasure is valued more.
If properly stimulated, both men and women can do so in the same amount of time. And I also think just how we see things on like the TV.
I feel like mostly through porn, honestly.
Women don't orgasm in movies.
You know, the video cuts as soon as the guy's finished.
And sex ends when the guy finishes.
I just end up, sticking through, even if I don't want to anymore. And I feel like a lot of women feel that they need to fulfill that role.
Lesbian women do orgasm more than straight women.
I think that's definitely true. When I have sex with a girl, it's like, yeah, I feel like there's more focus on like if I feel good rather than just like trying to make the guy come and then just be like done with it.
LGBT teens face a unique set of circumstances.
I wouldn't say it's completely riskier for LGBT teens because there isn't that idea of pregnancy for a lot of cases.
There's so much like better communication in gay sex.
But there's also a big gap of information.
I remember like not knowing what gay sex was at all.
So there's many of the same pressures, I think, but another added level of stress due to family, due to how people would react, the lack of knowledge. I think that those are really big factors.
Oh, actually, this is a terrible story. When I like first came out, my brother was like in a friend group with a bunch of like edgy, like edgy humor boys, and they made this like group chat where they would like literally just make fun of me and my girlfriend like scissoring, which is just like awful. I remember like when that happened, I like could not have sex with my girlfriend because it just felt weird. So like I think after that experience it was harder for me to talk about it with people.
As teenagers or high schoolers, there's a lot of new scenarios happening, new things happening, and no one wants to do the wrong thing. No one wants to be doing the wrong thing. So it's easier to just not talk about it than to put your insecurities out there and put that learning process out there, I think.